You know that feeling, like there's a constant battle going on inside your own head? There's this one voice, right? It's always telling you to be careful, to watch out. And then there's another one, way quieter, that's just whispering for you to calm down. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. A really powerful way to understand that internal conflict. So, our guide for this whole thing is a book called The Guru and the Warrior by James Gray Robinson. And its central idea is just fascinating. It says that these two incredibly powerful forces, this watchful, vigilant warrior and this calm, wise guru, they both live inside every single one of us. The problem is, for most of us, that relationship is, well, it's dangerously out of whack. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The whole concept is grounded in the author's own pretty harrowing personal story. This whole idea was basically born from him hitting absolute rock bottom. Yeah, that's a direct quote from the author himself. I mean, how raw is that? It just completely sets the stage. We're not talking about a bad week at work here. This was a total, complete collapse after decades in a super high-pressure job. And see, that's what makes this so powerful. From the outside, this guy was the absolute picture of success. A third-generation lawyer, raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He had literally everything society tells us is supposed to make us happy. But the reality? Oh, it was a completely different story. Underneath that shiny, successful facade, he was just drowning. It was this perfect storm, you know? You had the crushing stress from work, the personal chaos of a second divorce, and then these deep, private feelings of shame and failure all swirling together. And that was the breaking point. He got to a place where no paycheck, no amount of money was worth the pain he was going through inside. So he walked away. He just left his entire career behind. A decision that, you got to imagine, felt like the ultimate failure. So what was really going on inside his mind? I mean, that's the central question here, right? This goes way beyond simple burnout. What he was experiencing was more like a psychological civil war. And to understand that war, we've got to meet the one who had taken complete control of the battlefield. Let's talk about the warrior. Okay, so who is this warrior? Basically, it's our internal protector. Think of it like your brain's own personal security guard. Its whole job is to be on high alert, constantly scanning for danger and reacting in a split second to any perceived threat. And it doesn't care if that threat is a looming deadline at work or, a saber-toothed tiger back in the day. It's our first responder. But here's the thing. The warrior isn't supposed to be running the show all by itself. It has a partner, a counterpart who, for most of us in this crazy modern world, has been almost totally silenced. And that's the guru. The guru is, well, it's the polar opposite of the warrior. This is where we get our calm, our wisdom, our sense of perspective. So while the warrior is jumping at every shadow, reacting to the immediate danger, the guru is the one that takes a deep breath, steps back, and says, hey, it's going to be okay. It brings that sense of faith and balance to the whole system. And this comparison here just lays it out so perfectly, doesn't it? You've got the warrior, vigilant, protective, our first responder, always seeing danger. And then you have the guru, calm, wise, spiritual, providing that sense of faith. It really shows you how they're meant to be two sides of the same coin, working together in perfect harmony. So let's bring it back to the author's story. His life was just constant stress, constant battles in the courtroom, constant pressure. That meant his inner warrior was on duty 24/7. There is literally no space left for the guru to even get a word in. His entire system was stuck in high alert mode, and eventually, it just burned out. But here's the deal. This isn't just his story, is it? This feeling of imbalance, it's practically a signature of modern life. Which brings us to the big question. Why? Why is this happening to so many of us? Why is the warrior always in charge? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly profound. It's because our brains are hardwired for a world that, well, it just doesn't exist anymore. I mean, just think about all the triggers in our world today. You've got the 24/7 news cycle screaming at you, the endless scroll of information on your phone, social media, work deadlines. To our ancient brain, to our inner warrior, every single one of those things feels like a threat that demands a response. It's being set off constantly by stuff it was never ever designed to handle. And this quote from the book just nails what happens next. with the warrior in such a frenzy, creating so much noise and chaos, the guru's voice just gets lost in all that static. It's completely drowned out. We literally can't even hear it anymore. Okay, but it's not all doom and gloom. This isn't a hopeless situation. So for this last part, let's talk about the solution. How do we actually quiet that frantic warrior and finally let the guru have the microphone again? And the big takeaway here, the good news, is that you're not stuck like this. This isn't permanent. That state of constant anxiety and stress, it does not have to be your default setting. You absolutely can get that balance back. There's this quote in the foreword that I just love. It says, "Hack your brain so that your guru can reign." Isn't that great? It's so active, so empowering. It completely reframes this whole thing. It's not some problem you just have to put up with. It's a challenge you can actually solve. And the key thing to remember is, the goal isn't to get rid of the warrior. We need that guy. The goal is to get the guru back on the throne where it belongs. And that's the bottom line, really. This is a skill you can learn. It's like building a muscle at the gym. You can train your mind. It's all about becoming more aware, right? Learning to spot the moment your warrior is starting to freak out and hijack the system. And in that moment, you can consciously choose to bring in the guru's perspective. It's about creating that tiny bit of space between the trigger and your reaction. So I want to leave you with this one final question, and I want you to really think about it. In your life, day to day, with your job, your family, all the things that make you anxious, who is really in the driver's seat? Is it that frantic, hyper-vigilant warrior? Or is it the calm, wise guru? Because figuring out the answer to that, well, that could change everything.